It started with the crunch of gravel, boots and voices where no one should be. Four bulky men in black polos, knockoff badges reading HOA Security. And behind them, Karen. Red suit, clipboard, and the certainty she owned the mountain. "Open the gate," barked one of her hired heavies. "We have authority here." I took a slow sip of coffee. "Friend, the only authority here is gravity." Karen launched into a tirade about violations, unregistered cabins, and community bylaws. The fact that my cabin sat outside her HOA didn't matter, control was her native language. When I'd bought the place, a worn log shell tucked deep in pine country, it was my escape from petty suburban politics, no lawn letters, no parking fines, no pastel mailboxes. Just wind, ravens, and a chainsaw humming freedom. But apparently, freedom offends people like Karen. It began with courtesy notes. Then the logo-stamped threats, pay your dues or face legal action. I used them as fire starters. So here she stood, clipboard raised like a sword, behind her mismatched security squad that looked more dollar store than special ops. "This cabin violates the neighborhood aesthetic," she shrieked. "Good thing I like splinters," I said. The leader rattled my gate. "We can do this the easy way or the hard." I smiled. Hard way comes with coffee refills. Tension thickened. The air turned sharp as bark smoke. Inside, my two cousins, Jake and Mark, both ex-army, still asleep and snoring like generators. They didn't know we had company yet, but they'd know soon. I set my mug down, squared my shoulders, and told Karen, "Step on this property, and you'll wish you brought a real badge." Her voice hit dog whistle pitch. "You'll regret defying the HOA." "Not likely." I had backup she couldn't imagine. Minutes later, her so-called task force fanned out, blocking my drive with rust bucket trucks. Engines coughed, fake bravado puffed like exhaust. Karen strutted to center stage, heels wobbling on gravel, and proclaimed my three great crimes: wood cutting, unregistered dwelling, and unauthorized occupancy. In other words, living in my own house. I almost applauded. "Where's the one about excessive eye rolling?" One guard thumped the gate. "Above county authority," he growled. That earned my first genuine laugh. "Buddy, you gonna ticket the sheriff next?" Floorboards creaked behind me, my cousins were awake. Jake, tall as a pine trunk, and Mark, built like a sawmill. When two ex-soldiers step onto a porch, even birds hold their breath. Karen seized the moment. "Good, witnesses. These men are trespassing." Jake folded his arms. "Ma'am, this is his land. The HOA has jurisdiction." Mark squinted. "You boys the mall cop division or the bake sale unit?" The guards twitched. The leader's tattoos pulsed as he clenched his jaw. Karen barked, "Move in." But none moved. The courage she rented by the hour was expiring fast. Dust drifted. Silence stretched. My cousins held the line with nothing but calm muscles and military stillness. Then, faint over the ridge, came a low, rhythmic rumble. The kind that makes gravel tremble. Karen frowned. "What's that?" "Thunder." I grinned. "Family." The sound grew, a rolling chorus of Harley engines rising like war drums. Karen's clipboard sagged. Her guards exchanged looks of pure regret. Every man there knew that sound. And somewhere deep in her HOA soul, Karen knew the show was about to turn cinematic. Chrome flashed through the trees, 12 Harleys cresting the hill in perfect formation. The roar swallowed the valley, rich with the smell of oil, leather, and bad intentions for tyrants. The rental cops froze, Karen's red suit dulled under a spray of dust. Jake smirked. "Showtime." Kickstand slammed down. A wall of veterans dismounted, broad-shouldered men with unit patches and calm eyes that had seen worse than HOA bylaws. Leading them was my cousin Danny, all gravel voice and desert sun wrinkles. He surveyed the lineup. What's going on here? Karen's megaphone quivered. They're trespassing. This land falls under HOA authority. Danny's brow lifted. Funny. Looks like private property to me. She pointed wildly at her guards. Remove him. Danny stepped closer, boots crunching. Ma'am, back where we served, security means protecting people, not bullying them with clipboards. Mark chuckled. Even Girl Scouts show more spine. One rent-a-cop whispered, we're not paid enough for this. Another pretended to check his phone, suddenly fascinated by signal bars. Karen tried again, shrill through the megaphone. You can't intimidate me. Tommy, a tattooed giant, leaned down until his shadow swallowed her. Darlin', the only thing you command is espresso foam. Let's not test physics. Her mouth opened but no sound came. Danny gave a half-smile that wasn't friendly. Lady, I've met warlords with more authority. They learned when to walk away. He signaled. Engines roared in unison, shaking the ground. Dust billowed. Karen's army broke. Panic trumped paycheck. Trucks lurched, gravel sprayed, and fake badges vanished down the mountain faster than fines in a fire pit. Karen stood alone, hair wild, clipboard limp, red suit now the color of defeat. I raised my mug. Guess your troops just went AWOL. The rider's laughter rolled like thunder. Karen had no words, just rage and exhaust fumes for company. Silence settled, broken only by cooling engines and chuckles. Jake crossed his arms. So Karen, gonna cite the squirrels next. Mark added, maybe the creek, it didn't file a flow permit. Her cheeks flamed. You'll pay for this, she shrilled. Danny's expression softened, but only slightly. Worse for him. He's got deeds, neighbors, and dignity. You've got paperwork and an attitude. I'll call the sheriff, she snapped. I lifted my mug. He's got us on speed dial, remember? Last time he told you to quit harassing property owners. The riders laughed again, and nearby neighbors, phones in hand, appeared on the roadside. Someone shouted, hey Karen, your security forgot their courage. Laughter spread like wildfire. Her control cracked. Stop filming. This is official HOA business. But nobody listened. Karen's breath came ragged. Makeup streaked, hair undone, she looked less commander and more cartoon. Danny's tone turned firm. Go home before this gets sadder. She hesitated, then spun on her heel, nearly tripping. Gravel sprayed as her SUV fishtailed down the road. The valley sighed in relief. Jake stretched. Best morning entertainment in years. Mark grinned. Beats Netflix. I savored the final sip of coffee. She'll be back. She's addicted to authority. The riders revved their Harleys one last time, a victory salute that shook the hills. Chrome gleamed, fists rose, and the mountain echoed with freedom's favorite sound. For the first time all morning, I felt the quiet again, the honest kind, earned through laughter, loyalty, and a little noise pollution. 2 days later, the sequel arrived, in my mailbox. An envelope stamped with HOA insignia and wrath. Notice of violation, noise pollution. Fine $4,750. Cause, unlawful motorcycle disturbance. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled fresh coffee on it. Jake read over my shoulder. $4,000. For good acoustics. Mark said, frame it. Trophy of war. And I did, pinned right above the fireplace, between elk antlers. Every glance reminded me who'd really shaken the mountain. Neighbors kept dropping by, casseroles, stories, high fives. Word spread fast, Karen's security had fled from real soldiers. She'd been dethroned by her own spectacle. But late one dusk, her SUV crept past, windows tinted, eyes burning through glass. I raised my mug again. She sped off, pride sputtering behind her taillights. I knew she'd be back someday. Bullies run on ego, not gas, but I wasn't worried. I had something stronger: family, neighbors, and a deed signed in ink, not fear. That night, by the fire, we toasted with whiskey. To freedom, Jake said. And to never letting a Karen write the rulebook, I added. Laughter filled the cabin, echoing off the beams. See, the story wasn't really about motorcycles or a clipboard crusader. It was about standing your ground with humor and heart. Because the moment you stop bowing to nonsense, nonsense loses power. So if you've ever faced a Karen, at work, next door, or in your own head, remember this: you don't beat them by shouting louder. You beat them by standing taller, smiling wider, and letting truth roar louder than their rules. The HOA could fine me 1,000 times, but respect isn't something you print, it's something you earn.